What's up, dude? Raychel Hollingsworth. Great to finally connect with you, man.
So good to chat with you. It's been a wild ride.
No, definitely. It certainly has. Dude, so before I get into it, are you in New York now?
Yeah. We moved to New
Okay.
York about a year ago. We've hopped all over the US. New York is not our final resting place.
Okay.
But work took me up here and then I quickly quit corporate not too long after. So
I love it. And
it's
I
been
want to get
beautiful.
into that. You were in Austin before, right?
I was, yeah. So I spent 4.5 years in Austin. Actually, moved to Austin so that way I could start accumulating my real estate portfolio. So that was like
Okay.
the primary driver for that. Did that in a big way. So got 5 properties under our belts in a number of different areas. And then we were kind of like,
Dang.
well, you know what? Let's do something else, and moved over to New York. And this has been the weirdest adventure. I mean, it's been cool.
Oh, I bet.
We've learned a lot in this space. I would think primarily it's leaning into the fact that I am like I'm a sunbird. I love
Yeah.
sunshine, and unfortunately, New York doesn't really have that. And I also love nature. So
Okay.
every so often, you make a decision that shows you things about yourself that you're like, okay, well, not every environment is for me, which is good.
Yeah, yeah. Some are just like a vacation spot rather than uproot everything. So are you in the concrete jungle right now? Are you in the city?
We're in Brooklyn, so right outside the
Okay.
jungle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're in the concrete jungle, man.
Oh
Like
yeah.
that's such a change of pace from Austin. And before Austin, were you still on the West Coast? Is that where you were? In
I
like
was
Northern Cali,
born,
Berkeley area?
yeah, born and raised in Los Angeles, lived in the Bay Area for about 10 years before Austin. I've
Okay.
kind of booted my way across the US, which was not a thing I thought I would do.
Yeah.
But our next move is actually abroad. So we're scooting our way all the way
Dang, dude. I
across the
was
world.
just gonna ask.
So it's,
So you guys
life is
landed
just,
on, do you know where you're going? Can we breaking news here
we can
or
reveal it. Yeah, we can reveal it.
where are
So
we going?
we're headed to Peru for a little while.
Yeah.
Concrete jungle to Amazon jungle.
Okay.
It's
Perfect.
quite a ride, but again, I think New York has really shown us who we are and where we thrive, and it's like life is just a creative unfolding, you know?
Yeah, man. Hey, dude, ride the roller coaster all day. I can't wait to hear about what you find out about yourself once you move to Peru. And I think that's going to be fascinating because I know that you're super like you look at that type of stuff, and that's why I really wanted to have you on today. Dang, man. How
Yeah,
about you? Rachel
yeah.
Hollingsworth. Get it.
No, I never thought I would be here, but it's the best kind of surprise, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like
No,
life is kind of that way, right? Like where
of
you
course.
make it up as you go, and you're like, what kind of story is going to make this next chapter absolutely sing, and just keep writing it. And
Yes.
so that's
Yes.
that's really been our main thing. Like when we decided we were going to leave New York, I was talking to my partner, and I was like, well, we could move back to Austin, we could move back to California. But what if we were to throw the rules away? And what if we were to
Yeah.
just blank canvas? Like we could design our life, start over. Where would we be? What would we do? What would life look like? And so we just started spitballing, and then we
God.
narrowed down on places, and we are like, all right, well, looks like this is what we're doing. Let's
This
just
is it. I'm so excited, man. And I have to say, off the record, obviously, I've been following a lot of your social media channels. I'm really big on, like, I talk to a lot of people about their family, the family culture, and just like the relationship with your spouse. And so I just want to say, like, I think it's super dope that you and his name is Kevin, right?
his name
I
is
think
Kevin.
it's super dope that you and Kevin are so intentional about loving each other and dating each other. Like, that's such a powerful foundation for you guys growing collectively. And I see that there's such an absence of that in a lot of relationships, even when I'm like talking to my guys or if it's like more of like a family friend that we have. And so, yeah, dude, I think that that's super inspiring. What you guys are doing is really inspiring. Like, it's very cool to see all the time.
Thank you so much. It's such an important thing to just keep investing in your partner. Like it's a confusing world even by ourselves, and then you
Yeah.
introduce someone else and it becomes infinitely more complicated. You have your own past baggage, you've seen your own parents relationships, so many relationships, and I'm sure at some point you've like picked out things that you either want to recreate or like you know
Want to
that
avoid entirely.
Exactly, and I think for both my partner and I, we came from such different backgrounds, neither of which we wanted to replicate in our own marriage, so
Yeah.
it was just a series of conversations. Like, what kind of marriage do we wanna have? What happens in those in-between moments? What do you wanna feel like when you come home from work, and how can we help you to feel more celebrated in the day-to-day life that you live?
Yeah.
And it's been such an honor to have a partner who really, like, champions that same sort of character and reflects that back at me as well. Because I mean, I'll hustle all day long and I'll deliver all day long trying to be the best version of myself, and yeah, you need to find someone who's willing to meet you in the
No, I
middle.
love that. Dude, I love that so much. You guys are so intentional and it really is inspiring. Let's talk about your background. Obviously, I did a little bit of research. So you, first of all, pretty impressive CV, if I should say so myself. Product and program management across some of the biggest names, your Facebooks, your Googles, and then this leap into becoming kind of like a serial entrepreneur, whether it's I want to get into Ray of Sunshine. Obviously, you just mentioned some of the real estate stuff. Like, walk me through the transition from like, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore. Maybe I'm not fulfilling myself. Like, what? Because that's such a big leap. And a lot of people don't have the belief in themselves or they're waiting for like this perfect moment. Like, how did you know to take the leap? It's like, it's so awesome.
Yeah, thank you, and I really appreciate that so much. Look, like I had, as you mentioned, I had been in a lot of rooms that I honestly never thought I would be in. I had a lot of imposter syndrome throughout my career. As I was leading teams across the world and shipping products to billions of people, I was still like, "Ooh, am I good enough for this?" And then
Yeah.
I would reflect and I'd be like, "Wait, hold on, look at what I've done with my life." And
Mhm.
I have to tell you, like the struggle and the perseverance really started for me at such a young age. I mean, like I moved out when I was feeling like life was not handed to me. I was
Wild.
financially independent since that point forward. And so I think I had always, for such a long time, inserted myself into rooms where I knew I didn't fit in. And that was part of my journey. Because if I
Yeah.
fit into the room, that meant like I had already been there before. So
Hmm.
starting to get comfortable with that discomfort and reframing the relationship was super, super important for me. But after a little while, I had been in tech for such a long period of time. I really loved it for so long. I loved what I was doing. I loved who I got to work with. I loved the impact that we were making on a day-to-day basis. But I started to feel misaligned in terms of my values.
Hmm.
And I was starting to feel that burnout. And it was to a point where every couple of years, I would just get so exhausted from working myself to the bone
Yeah.
for so many hours and not listening to my own internal cues. And at some point, I started to check in with myself. It's like, hold on, like, this isn't right. No one
Yeah.
should be hurting themselves to this point where they're physically feeling ill because of what they're putting their bodies through. And then being like, well, wait, hold on. I got to respond to a couple more emails, even though I'm feeling this
Yeah.
way. And so, I mean, I think going through that a few times, at some point, I started to take my power back. And I was like, hold on, like, I need to reassess how I'm spending life because this life is not for a corporate paycheck.
Yeah.
It's because I get to live it. Like, what is the point of all this anyway, right?
That's so
And
powerful.
and I
That's
think
so
like
powerful,
people
dude.
don't ask themselves that question, right? Like they get stuck in their 9 to 5, they get stuck in the rat race, and they get so addicted to this high of chasing the next thing, the next accolade, the next promotion, that they forget like what are they doing it for?
Yeah.
So
Um, was it because like look, you and it's I'll skip ahead. I scroll through all of your content, obviously, and I know I made this joke to you before that sometimes I'll see you post something and I'll have to quickly scroll past it. Like I don't want to watch it
mm,
because I'm in a lot of circumstances, I'm not ready to face the music in the realism that you promote in your content. And sometimes you just really bring like a heavy swing of like, God, I don't, because I am am hustle culture and it's gross to even, I can happily admit it, but I know that there's a distinction between like, dude, am I chasing a new title or like, is this where my heart really is? And perhaps that's a discussion for another time, but you're so consistently making me think like, shoot, dude, is this like there's got to be something more? And so going back to kind of your transition from those big logos into doing your own thing, I guess my question is like, how scary was that? Was that super
mm.
scary? Like what type of mental exercise? Like how do you prepare yourself for You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, I love that question. Yes, it was scary, but I think anything worth doing is going to be, right? I mean, like, even what you just mentioned, like the fear of facing yourself, like on the other side of that fear is a version of you that is so excited to go to bed with yourself every night. Like,
Yeah.
it just feels like you're fully in line. Like, everything you do is just a reflection of you and that you just get to live in your purpose all day long. Like, that is a beautiful gift that no one can give you but yourself. And so many of us will double down on our plan B and never give ourselves the opportunity to see what plan A would feel like because we're so afraid of losing the dream. We're so afraid of like what would happen if we didn't make it.
Hmm.
And so yeah, I mean it is quite scary because there you demystify what that plan A would look like for you to pursue and you do have to face yourself. So for me it was like, I think the biggest thing was like the paycheck, right? It's like what am I
Yeah.
going to do with that consistent nice paycheck that's allowed me this many luxuries and whatever. And the second thing was also like the reputation. Like are people going to look at me the same if I don't have these things on my resume anymore? And then the
Yeah.
third thing was like everyone tells you it's a tricky job market. These things are hard. They're harder than they look. Will I be able to get another job? And so I think like one by one, just getting really clear on what my fears really were trying to tell me and addressing are these current fears like are they based off of this current reality? So my financial fear, is that because I don't have enough money to get by? And so I did the exercise of checking out and being like, okay, if I were to make it $0 for however long, how long could I get by to make that happen? And truth
Yeah.
is decades. I would be totally fine for a long time, and because we don't spend a lot of money and we would adjust our livelihood. But I was like, okay, check. Understood. Understanding the reputation. I was like, well, if people don't want me in their lives anymore because they thought that Google was they associated me with this
Then you
brand.
hit the top of the mountain. Like there's, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I think to your point, like there was a part of me that was worried that like, because I had done these great things, like, is that the best I'm ever going to be? And I was like, absolutely not. That's just the only place I had ever invested myself. And like, what would happen? Like, not in 6 months, but like, what will happen in 3 years, in 5 years of me going down this path? And like, who could I be then? Like, I already know what I can do in this context. I haven't
Hmm.
given myself the chance to see what I can do in another context. And
Yeah.
so I think that that was like deeply insane for me because I think like again, when you have success in one place, people can convince you that's the only container for your success and it's
Yeah.
only the people around you that will help you get there. And it's just that's their fear that's imparting on you
Dude,
rather than anything that they
bro,
care.
that's such a powerful thing that you just said. That's their fear. Going back to like why I skip over a lot of your content because I'm not ready for it is I think that there's like this prejudice on somebody else's opinion or bias that they put in me that I've kind of just like reluctantly been like, okay, yeah, you're right. I'm in a pocket. Let me just keep doing what I'm doing rather than facing that unknown. Being afraid, like you even just mentioned at the beginning, like getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. I honestly think that through that lineology in your journey, so like that's a superpower. You have a superpower in your mindset to be able to have belief in yourself. You have a quote on your website that I jotted down. It says, you invest in everyone else, it's time to invest in yourself. And that's like the perfect example of the content that I'm skipping right over that, girl. I ain't ready. I ain't ready to be hit with that. What are you doing to me? But I love that. And it is a superpower. And I don't have that superpower. I think I'm capable of having it, but I'm probably still in that, yo, it's scary. And I've got a lot of things that I know are coming, like a paycheck and my growth and whatever the heck I'm doing. And it's scary.
Yeah, well,
It's
look,
just
like
as scary.
we haven't been taught to dream big. It's not like no one tells us that. Like you look at your parents, most people's parents took the safer route and they reinforced the idea that that was like the best thing that you should do. And I absolutely hear you that like we think that it's scary, but like what is
Bro,
scarier?
it's scary. It's scary. I think about it. It's
Guys,
scary.
let's think about this. So, like, what would really be scarier to like go fast forward 10 years and to have aged yourself in all of these different directions, living a life that like you don't really feel aligned with, or like taking the big leap and it may not feel as big as you think it does. Like that's the
Yeah.
thing is that even like watching the videos, it's like there's something that's getting reflected that's bringing something up in you, but the process of exploring it is probably way less scary and actually like way more fun and like silly than you might believe, because
Yeah.
there's something about rediscovering ourselves that is really healing. And like I think similar to dating, right? Like you date your partner, but like you can date yourself too. And you're
Hmm.
with yourself 100% of all of your days. And again, like we worry about facing ourselves, like, oh my gosh, it's so scary to know all of it. That's such garbage. We are so worth getting to know. And also, like, how will you know if your love feels good if you're not willing to love yourself?
Dude, this is why I didn't ask you to come on the show, Rachel. I'm skipping over your content for a reason, and I feel like I just invited myself into the lion's den to be just like slapped with the face of reality and like a, hey man, change your mindset. I'm both stoked and scared out of my mind to continue talking with you, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it because you're doing a lot of cool stuff. So,
You're amazing, and look, like we'll make it safe for you here, Chris. You can let your guard
okay,
down.
keep me in a safe
Worry.
space, will you?
Don't you
My
worry.
gosh, that we're 10 minutes in and I'm already thinking my whole life. Talk to me about Ray of Sunshine.
Okay.
You're providing clients with like one-on-one coaching, obviously momentum building. You have an extended support service. What are you seeing in the field? I know we've gone back and forth on like some of your content that I do watch is funny, like your inner critic kind of monologues. I'll hang around for that stuff. But talk
It's
to
true.
me about what you're seeing. Yeah, no, girl, I have an inner critic and his voice is loud, louder than my angel on the other shoulder.
Yep, yep.
But talk to me about the services. Talk to me about what you're seeing with your clients and what does that do for you internally when you see somebody who reached out to you and you see them win and you're like, God, I was a part of that? Like what's that like?
It's the honor of a lifetime. So I'm a trauma-informed life coach. I work with clients, and it doesn't sound, it sounds a little chaotic or a little like surgical when you call it that, right? But ultimately, I'm working with clients who are high performers, who feel stuck in their lives or feel like they've gotten to a point where they're like, kind of want to make a switch, but I don't really know what to do now. And they
Mhm.
haven't really spent that time with themselves to understand like what is the best path forward. And so I get to work with them in a way where we look at where they are now and where they want to be, and what are all the obstacles that are getting in the way of them achieving this goal.
Mhm.
I would say for starters, it's like, what is the goal? Sometimes you need to like work with someone for a period of time so that way they feel safe enough to dream again. Because as
Mhm.
high performers, like we're just so used to climbing a ladder and like knowing that next step based off of what someone else has told us
Right.
rather than like one that we've really created for ourselves. So yeah, so working with my clients, like I mean, across the world, it is the biggest honor of a lifetime. I have clients who like just absolutely blow through the goals that they had initially set for themselves. And the
Mhm.
thing about the coaching that I do is that it's called whole person coaching, which is an understanding that like no matter what you're looking at on the outside, they all boil down to the same core issues. So the things that are plaguing your career are probably also showing up in your marriage, probably also showing up in your relationship with yourself, your spirituality, maybe your fitness routine. It's showing up everywhere because we are integrated human beings. We're not like just a head and a body. Like we're a collective. And so
Yeah.
I get to work with clients in a way that leverages somatic engagement. So that's like the mind body connection, because there's an understanding in psychology that like when you go through something hard, it doesn't have to be serious trauma. But when you go through something hard, your body stores in a lot of those memories. Your brain can't really process it. It's focused on keeping you safe. And so your procedural memory starts to store those hard things, which is why people will clench their fists, tighten their jaw, do a bunch of things that like maybe like at some point leading to some sort of inflammation or chronic ailment
Yeah,
because they
yeah.
haven't learned to relax that part of
Like as a
themselves.
defense mechanism to thoughts that they don't want to take on or process.
Exactly, exactly. So really learning to re-engage the mind and the body so that way you have a fully resource system. And as a society, we're so used to being like so cerebral, like so mind dominant. Like I think. But
Mhm.
there are neurons in your heart and in your gut, similar to your brain. And so there's a lot of intelligence in your body. And it sounds woo-woo if you're not like familiar with how this works, but there's a lot of really good research that talks about the integration and how beautiful that can be, and how when you can revisit old prior challenges, you can start to develop a new relationship with those prior memories such that they don't have power over you anymore.
Yeah.
So, similar to what you were saying earlier, like you have these things about yourself that you don't want to look at. So you bury it and you bury it and you
Yeah,
bury
I
it.
don't want to face the music.
But you know that the biggest way to bring alarm to your body is by burying something. So you're actually making it so much bigger in your life than it needs to be.
This is why I didn't want to talk to you. Continue. Continue. Respectfully. Respectfully.
I know it's okay. I'm not for everyone, but it's totally fine. But yeah, no, it's such an honor to be able to work with clients and see them push past these mental hurdles. And I've worked with clients from like developing their own business to scaling their own business. I do a lot of consulting in in that realm as well. To like people who have decided to step outside of their marriages because they realized it wasn't for them, or
Yeah,
decided to move to a different country, or even like embrace their own gender identity or the way that they want to dress. So like the benefits are endless. Client who just graduated from working with me and started dating for the first time in many years. He's 65 and is like finding love again. And so
that's
again, it's
awesome.
like it's just absolutely astounding. I guess my sense is like if you still have years on this planet, you still have years to be able to like feel that fulfillment that you've been waiting
Yeah.
for. What's the point of life anyway if not to live?
No,
Yeah.
100%. And gosh, I mean, that's why people talk to you. I'm even me just getting a free kind of tutorial on like, hey man, get your head out of there. Like get your head out of these dark corners where you feel like you're caged in. No, it's refreshing. It's scary. It's scary as all heavens. But I think that what you're doing is tremendous. I think that I was just talking to somebody the other day. It's like you got this big ambition to change the world. How do you do that? You start one person at a time. And I really think that that's what you're doing. And there's kind of a roller coaster rollover effect from some of the things. I mean, dude, you're dropping so much free value and knowledge just on your social media posts. Like I even jotted some down from procrastination to people just waiting for the perfect time, the absolute right moment, which I learned from you and others. There's no such thing. So you're waiting for something that's literally never going to come. What's the other one that is being a perfectionist as well, which I feel like that's one thing that I really did work on. I started posting a lot more content, kind of had like a history as a child doing like the TV stuff, and I really like musical theater. And I always saw video content and people putting themselves out there and was like, hey, this is something I think I want to do. This sounds pretty fun. But dude, I waited like 8 years because of the timing's not right or don't know how to edit and it's got to be perfect. So just like I get so much value off of watching and seeing the things that you post on your timeline, whether I skip past it and come back to it or I take it face on, depends on how I'm feeling at the moment. So just walk me through like, dude, what is this castle that you're building and how can people connect with you? How can they get along for the ride? Because I mean, clearly I'm an example. Whether you're ready to face the music or not, there's a lot of weight and value behind some of the things that you're giving out for free. And I know I joke and say I skip past it, but I think that acknowledging the things that you're not ready to take on perhaps might be the first step into making that leap and entering into the unknown. So, like, just talk to me about that world and the vision.
Yeah, and look, you're totally right. The acknowledgement is the first step. Like wherever you are right now is exactly where you deserve to be met. And obviously, we're having a conversation right now, but in a coaching session, it is actually a lot of me holding space, asking some gentle questions, and meeting my client exactly where they are. It's not my way
Hmm.
of being like, I have done all these crazy things. Now you need to move to Peru. No,
Yeah.
absolutely not. My life is just a testament of like what I want my life to be. I just think life can be a fun puzzle, and life has also been very, very hard for me for many years. So like now I'm like, okay, I get to enjoy it, and I see the value in that. But yeah, with my clients, it's really about creating the safest container for them to be exactly who they are in this moment with absolutely no pressure. And it's very gentle. And most of my clients will say that it's actually really enjoyable and a lot. And most of my clients actually have breakthroughs in every single session because
Very cool.
they get to see themselves more clearly. And it's not just like the part of yourself that you're worried about being hidden away. It's also like, I want to tell you, you're a fantastic podcast host. Like, you have a knack for this, and it's fabulous. And it's like, you don't get to hear the things about yourself that you deserve to hear. And it's not just like the things about yourself that you're worried about other people discovering. It's also the parts of yourself that you're like, yeah, okay, no, I am. I am good at this. I deserve to
Yeah.
be on
That
screen.
hits. Even when you just said that, that hits. Like it made me feel good, and I
Yeah.
appreciate that. Thank
Well,
you.
and I'm not just saying that. That's a real genuine compliment. Like, I mean, you're
Yeah.
really, really good at this. You have great pace. You're like authentic. It shows through and it comes through in your energy. And again, it's like people really want to be seen. And because we're all living in our own bubble, it's so hard for us to see other people. And so when you talk to your partner at times and like they had a hard day at work and so they can't really see you or appreciate the things that you've gone through. So you don't get to see your value reflected back at you. And that
Yeah.
can be really challenging when you go through a world like that where either people are too preoccupied to see you or too conditioned to be like such that they're afraid to tell you how great you actually are. And
Yeah.
we cannot shine if we don't know how bright we are. Like we got to turn up the volume on that radiance. And the only way we can do that is when we see this is the area where like I come alive. This
Yeah.
is the area that feels really good. Like I'm motivated in this direction, but like now I have the validation. So anyway, I said all of that, and I know that wasn't really your question, but I just wanted to reference that.
No, dude, it slaps. It for sure slaps. And I'm connecting the dots. So, one, thank you for that compliment. I love podcasting. And to be fair, it's not even podcasting. I love talking to people. I love just being curious about them, whether the camera's rolling or not. And so it has just like added so much value to my life just in getting to meet with different people and hear their backgrounds. And you made like just on acknowledging or recognizing something about somebody. I think that that's one of the things that I love most about talking with people is I find like compliments are so like it's not the norm anymore, especially in like a male to male relationship. I was talking to this guy Charles last week and I had a whole list of questions. I was like, hey man, let me just be vulnerable for a minute. I love seeing what you're doing with your family. I love the relationship you have with your wife. You're showing it like I just gave him his flowers because I felt like, dude, I can't leave this landscape until I just let this dude know I'm inspired by him. And man, to see him light up and then him lighting up like made me light up and is like it was just such a room, a digital room filled with love. And so I think that you make such a tremendous point is that like there's so much power in that acknowledgement. Like, come on, man, we grew up with MySpace and Facebook and Instagram where like our whole worlds are channeled around like, how many thumbs up did you get? You know what I mean? And it sounds so silly and obviously not an appropriate mindset to have in terms of where I'm getting the acknowledgement from, but it's just like that's how I'm framed. And so I want to give back that same type of like, dang, dude, this guy just made me feel really good. And so I think that that's whether it's subconscious, whether it's intent, I think that that's one of the beautiful things in what you're doing, not only with your material and the content that you post, but I'm sure the synergies that you're getting inside of those one-on-one sessions with your clients.
Yeah, yeah. And look, like, I think it's really amazing that you lean into that, even when it's vulnerable, especially when it's vulnerable, because you're right. People do need to hear that. They need themselves reflected back at them. And we'll never know what the room looks like without us in it. Like,
Yeah.
you are like we're so used to looking at other people and not looking at ourselves and not feeling seen and not feeling celebrated. And so I know we've talked a lot about like the healing process being scary or these comforts being scary, but like it is incredibly refreshing to be so seen for all
Yeah.
of our parts, and then we're like, oh my gosh, wait, I have been overlooking that I have this superpower this whole time. Now that I
Yeah.
know that, who do I want to be? How do I want to use the
It's like the
superpower?
light at the end of the tunnel once you decide to get comfortable being uncomfortable. That's what I mean,
Exactly.
that's what it feels like to me.
Exactly.
That's
And
crazy,
so
man.
In terms of like where this is all going, I mean, like, so I've been doing some live speaking gigs. I'm like doing some traveling and doing a keynote speech later this year. And so there's some conferences and things like that. I really want to work with people. I feel like energy is extremely healing. I mean, like everything is frequencies, right? Like with the volume turned off, you would have no idea we're speaking, but like we can communicate. And I do
Hmm.
feel like there's something about being together in person and being able to share these stories and invite in a different kind of healing that's really powerful. One-on-one sessions, I have a couple of slots that are opening from clients who are graduating because the goal is to
Very
not
cool.
need me forever. It's that you have realize you have your own skill set, you have all the tools you need, and it's really bittersweet and beautiful when that happens.
Yeah. I love that.
But I
Even
do
just
have
that you have a graduation because that's another like, dude, that's a milestone type of thing. God, it's just cool. It's just cool,
it's
Rachel. Whether I want to
it's
face it or not, it's just cool. Okay?
It is the coolest. It is the coolest thing. Look, like, I know you asked this a while ago, but when you were talking about like at what point did I decided I want to leave corporate? I think like when I was doing something that made me feel so alive, where I was like, gosh, I'm so good at this. I love this work. I love to see my clients grow and like look at all of the testimonials, look at all of the people that I've gotten to work with and seeing what they accomplish. And it's not just, again, it's not just about like finding the right words or creating the right space. It's also like note like truly noticing and
Hmm.
intuiting and being with someone and pulling at the right threads at the right time so that way they can figure out how to gracefully unravel at their own pace in a way that feels really safe and comforted. But doing that and leaving all my sessions just like glowing and being like, oh, this is amazing.
Yeah.
It's really hard to go back to like lukewarm about life.
There's gonna be nothing better than that, man. Come
Right? Like,
on.
why can't we do this forever? Like, why do we convince ourselves that the vacation has to end? It
Yeah.
doesn't. You can move to Peru and the vacation is forever. Like,
No, for sure. You're about to learn a whole bunch of new stuff about yourself and enjoy that vacation, man.
yep.
Bro, I just honestly, I'm inspired by what you're doing. I think that it's really cool. Even just kind of being a fly on the wall, seeing the different motions and posts. You're inadvertently and advertently adding a lot of value just to what I'm trying to grow towards, whether I want to admit it or not. And so, thank you, man. Thank you. I think that there's not a lot of people that have the superpower that you have, and you taking that superpower and giving other people superpowers, that's like, it's just inspiring. And, yeah, I just, as scared as I was to face the music with some of these things that we jumped into, I think that you're doing it right. You're killing it. And I'm so excited to continue to watch your journey. I don't know if I have it in me to submit the one on one. Maybe I'll grow there. Maybe you give like a 15-minute slot. Maybe 15 is all I have of me for starters, but I know we're getting close on time. I just want to say thank you, dude. I love everything that you're doing. I'm along for the ride. I can't wait for some of the people in my network to see some of these options that they have out there. I love that. You're in New York for sure, man. I
I'm
hear
so
it.
sorry.
I hear it. But no, I love what
Sexy.
you're doing. I'm along for the ride. So thank you so much for hanging out with me for a little bit, Rachel. This is definitely not going to be our last round. In fact, I might even have to get some of my other cats and you can school all three of us just with these little mental exercises in these voids that we're not willing to jump into.
Happy to, and it is not my role to force you to jump into a void you're not ready to, but hopefully we can create a nice mental picture so that way you know what you're stepping into.
I love that's such a gosh, you're just good at what you do. That's such a like, oh, it's pressure free, but you could really change your whole life and be the best version of yourself. You don't even know yet. I love that. I love that, dude. So thank you for popping on with me. I'm gonna always be on board with your journey, and I can't wait to be able to jump onto another cast like this with you. All right.
Anytime.
Have an awesome rest of your day, Rachel. Thank you.